I just played through Chapter 8 and it was a ride. I'm going to make two videos. The video you're watching is the thought/theory crafting video, and the second one will be a normal playthrough because I haven't done one in a while and I want to bring those back. I enjoyed this chapter, not as much as Chapter 6. Chapter 6 to me is still the best chapter of Part 2 yet. There was one major thing that stopped me from liking this one as much as Chapter 6. But before I talk about that, let me start this off by saying I didn't know this arc was still going. In my last review videos, I said this arc was over. I genuinely thought it was. There was even an EX chapter that I thought solidified the end of the arc because the last arc ended that way. But I guess they're doing this differently. And after finishing this chapter, I still don't think it's the end, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go over my thoughts on the chapter. I liked the majority of Chapter 8. It started off with a bang, the biggest lore drop in Part 2 yet, revealing the true culprit of the Shadow Calamity was Layla, and that she did it because she misses Senadina and she lost the pendant again. Someone stole it, and guess who? I hate to admit it, but I did like Sanchi in this chapter. Her little part in this was very funny. We got more information about Ajita, which is always welcome, and it was juicy. We'll talk about that later. The Litost battle was sick. It felt like an actual Honkai boss fight, something I haven't felt since Chapter 4. And my favorite part of the chapter was Dreamseeker gaining the power to absorb shadows and realizing that she was slowly turning into Layla. That part was super cool to me because now we have a timer to defeat Layla before Dreamseeker fully transforms. There are really high stakes now. Chenzu did comfort her and said she's her own person, and I do think she'll be fine by the end of this arc. But let's not kid ourselves here. There will be some pain, and my brain is running wild with possibilities on what could happen. Also, I'm just a sucker for the MC turned villain stories, no matter how many times it's done. The only iffy part about this chapter was Helia's arc. I enjoyed Helia's arc like I did the rest of the chapter. I truly did. I liked the message, great message for Helia and the players. I liked learning about Hooded Helia's past with Project 401, the planar battlesuit. I liked the storytelling. I liked all the optional stuff you could do, those were cute. I loved that Helia started to accept herself for who she is, especially how she transformed into the planar battlesuit to kill Litost once and for all. This made me care about Helia a lot more as a character, and it was great, but it dragged, and I mean dragged. There were multiple moments where I thought it was done, but it just kept going and going. It felt like Helia was saying the same thing 20 times, and even after she defeated Hooded Helia, there was a long cutscene before and after the Litost fight about the same thing we just went over. And I get that they want to make the finale to Helia's arc the focus of this chapter, but tone it down. You could trim an hour or an hour and a half from this and still get the same amount of focus and importance you wanted. There's a lot of good stuff here, it's just drowned out by how long it is, and I think that's a shame. There was a cliffhanger with Corley waking up in a strange land, and I liked it, but I almost feel kind of exhausted from the amount of Helia and Corley we got in this chapter. I need a break from these guys. I'm going to need you to focus on other things in Chapter 9. Other than the dragging and Helia section, I think this was a great chapter. I really enjoyed the story, and that's all I really want. Now for the theory crafting. At the start of making this script, I didn't think there was as much to theorize about as there ended up being, so buckle up. I do have two theories about Ajita and Baiji. Are you surprised? So far in this arc, Ajita has had her weird moments, but she's mostly been helpful. But I think we are starting starting to see some of her true colors. Dreamseeker found herself alone with Vegeta, and it wasn't long until the conversation got weird. She expresses her admiration for Dreamseeker and is amazed by her sharing everything. Dreamseeker says hiding things won't make them any better, and she says that's it. That's what makes you so different from them. First of all, who's them? Second of all, is it just me, or does this line seem a bit creepy? That's why you're different from them. That's why I like you more. You're special. I'm reminded of that time in Chapter 5 when Vegeta is immediately interested in Dreamseeker because she set up a trap for Dreamseeker, Helia, and Coralie, but it didn't work on Dreamseeker, and she said, no matter how you look at it, you don't seem any different from them. Them being Helia and Coralie. If she is referencing that moment here, then that's gross. Coming from you, please don't talk to Dreamseeker like this ever again. Then we have this sentence, which has a lot to it, so I'm gonna break this down. First, she says, this is the first time a dream by me has met the exception. You are the exception in this samsara. The dream and samsara talk reminds me of the theory about dream seekers I made, and I thought, did Vegeta just imply she's a dream seeker, or am I misunderstanding something? I'm going to need your guys' help on this one because this was so out of the blue and she only said it once, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Second, dream seeker is the exception. What does that mean? Has Vegeta been waiting for her for a long time? Third, she said, you can help my program reach unprecedented levels of success. She is recruiting Dreamseeker for some sort of program. Dreamseeker is going to be extremely valuable in this program, it sounds like. Why? I have no idea. Finally, she said, as long as, and was going to say something else before Teresa walked in. She was going to say as long as no one gets in the way, wasn't she? There's a reason Vegeta waited to be alone with Dreamseeker before saying all this. She wants this private. All this behavior is giving off a possessive vibe, especially when Vegeta's still looking at Dreamseeker when she and Teresa are talking and acting like Teresa isn't even there. My advice for the crew of the Hyperion, do not let Dreamseeker be alone in a room with Vegeta again. Vita is a better option at this point. This has red flags all over it. We also found out that Dr. Vegeta is a real person in the world, and this is just a digital version of her. I have 3 things to say. 1, where is the real Dr. Vegeta? Since she's a digital life form and the Sky people are real, she's not a Sky person. My Sky person theory is probably still dead as a doorknob, but it's nice to hope. Second, why did Dr. Vegeta make a self-aware digital copy of her? What does she want this digital version to do? Half of me thinks back to her search for the continent in Chapter 3. Is that what she wants the digital version to do? The other half of me goes to point number 3. Vita scanned all personality sets in the system and confirmed Vegeta is the only one that can project into reality. But we know Dreamseeker can also do this. There's a reason Dreamseeker and Vegeta are the only 2 who can do this, and after all this, I feel like Vegeta has something to do with it, especially with her being a back-end maintainer. Maybe the purpose for the digital version of Vegeta is to recruit Dreamseeker into this program. Maybe the program is to find the continent. It's too early to say, but it's just another reason for Dreamseeker to run. Although, Sanchi did see something she wasn't meant to see, so maybe she'll become self-aware as well? Who knows? There isn't a lot to say about Baiji, but I do have an update on one of the first theories I made about the guy. Sanchi did steal Senadina's astral ring, but it was a request from a Lantern organization member who was hired by Baiji. Like Vegeta, this presumably is a continuation from something that happened in Chapter 5, where Baiji asked the Lantern organization member to investigate a place with tight security and only managed to snag a page of a document, which is where Baiji first learned about about the astral rain. I don't think he's connected to Senadina like I thought. He seems to not know what it is, he just wants it. We don't know why. He seems to know about Ruimu Tower, so I wonder if that tells us something. I'm going back through all the previous evidence I used, like Aurora, where Baiji showed Vegeta an astral rain, and the treasure box he's so obsessed with. I wonder if Senadina's astral rain was inside the treasure box, and that's why he's so protective of it. The treasure box looking the same as the box that Goddess Senadina came out of in the prologue is still a bit suspect. I don't think that it was a hint that Baiji and Senadina are connected like I thought. I think it was just a hint that the box is significant to Senadina and Baiji just has no idea yet. Who really knows though? That's just a game theory. I will say there is a history deviation plotline going on that is kind of confusing. I'll try to explain it to the best of my understanding. Basically, the quantum computer does simulate history from real events, but some NPCs can deviate from history, and non-NPCs can interfere with history to make the future different from what it was. Pretty much, the true usage of the quantum computer is to show the what-ifs. What if people made different choices, how would things end up? For example, Dreamseeker and Bianca snatched Senadina's astral rain from Sanchi, so now Baiji isn't going to end up with it. I don't know what's going to happen now, if that treasure box will still exist or what. We'll just see what happens. There's also a theory that Dreamseeker made that history was deviated so drastically that Litost became the one that made the Shadow Calamity instead of Layla, and I guess that's what we saw in Chapter 6? I don't know what's going on with that. I'm still confused. I think we're supposed to be because we don't have enough information yet. I'm interested in how this history deviation plotline will continue. I hope it doesn't get too confusing because it already took me a while to wrap my head around this, but we'll see. This video is getting long, but I want to comment on one more thing. This won't be the last chapter. There is a cliffhanger, so chapter 9 is also going to be a part of this arc. This will make it a 5-chapter arc, and you could say including the EX chapters, there has been a few 5-chapter arcs, but this is the first arc in Honkai Impact history that has 5 non-EX chapters, and including the EX chapter, it's a 6-chapter arc. And I want to know your opinions on that, because I know people are iffy on 4-chapter arcs, me included. Personally, I thought I would have been pissed when I found out this arc was still going, but I'm surprisingly okay with it and even a bit happy. I've liked every chapter except chapter 7, and I know I'm in the minority with that opinion. Hoyoverse has done a great job with this arc, and I honestly prefer a longer arc considering this arc's significance. This may be the end of the Lenkchu storyline. All we have to do is defeat Layla, which will presumably, hopefully, defeat the Shadow Calamity that we've been dealing with for 8 chapters at this point, and it was the whole point in coming here, to see if Kiana awakens because of that. Did you forget that's why we are here? I don't blame you. 3EX was 9 months ago. So if this is the end of Lenkchu, I'd prefer a longer arc so we wrap up all of the loose ends. I'm very excited for chapter 9. Someone in the comments said they were disappointed there wasn't an animation or song. I get it, I had the same disappointment when I thought chapter 7 was the last chapter. To be fair, they only do animations in the final chapter of each arc. This has been a longer arc than usual, and chapter 8 isn't the final one. I'm holding out for chapter 9. I'm hoping it has one. Other than that, that's all my thoughts and theories on the new chapter. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I do have one more thing to say. It'll be quick, I promise. Chapter 9 isn't coming out until late June. These new 9-week patches are rough, and they will change the channel a little bit. If you've noticed, I've started playing other gachas 1, I personally wanted to, and 2, if I remained Honkai Impact 3rd only, I would upload 2 videos every 2 months. So from now on, I will be doing reviews and reactions to all of these gacha games, and don't worry, Honkai Impact 3rd isn't going anywhere. I'll be there as soon as a new chapter drops to theorize about it. And if the other games have something interesting, I might start theorizing about those too. So if that sounds interesting, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you don't miss an upload from me, like this video, and I will see you all in the next video.